Hey everyone, this is Oppo's newest budget device, and it comes at a crazy low price. Somehow it has a 6-inch screen, a good battery, and the build quality of a device that should cost at least twice as much. But, you know, specs can be deceiving, and so can looks. So what are you actually getting with this phone? I'm Angie for GS Marina, and this is our Oppo Realme 1 review. This phone has excellent design and build quality. It feels sturdy and it seems like it can take a beating. Just don't get it wet since it doesn't have any IP protection. The device is mostly made of plastic to drive down cost, but it certainly doesn't look like it. The back, for example, has the diamond-inspired design that Oppo is very proud of. It's quite eye-catching when it's clean of fingerprints and smudges, but that usually doesn't last long, so it's good that there's a case included. The biggest feature missing? A fingerprint reader. But despite that, there is a super fast and accurate face unlock. But while you can't fool it with a picture, it's not very secure, and it works even if your eyes are closed, so you'll still need to use a password for more sensitive content. The 6-inch 1080p LCD panel is larger than on most budget devices. However, the bezel-less trend that started last year practically foretold that larger screen sizes would trickle down to mid-range and budget phones. Of course, this being a budget device, brightness and contrast are decent, but not spectacular. It's in the same ballpark as the Redmi 5 and the Redmi 5 Plus. In a way, audio performance is similar. While it can easily get loud enough for you to hear it ring in a crowded bar, the audio quality itself is rather mediocre. You want to listen to your favorite music through headphones or a Bluetooth speaker instead. Thankfully, there's a headphone jack on board, so any old pair will work. The Realme 1's Helio P60 chipset is a mid-ranger that easily beats out the Redmi lineup and the Moto G6 Plus, as well as mostly any other smartphone with Snapdragon 6 series chipset. In fact, we can easily say this is the best bang for your buck if you're chasing the best mobile performance for super cheap. And because some of you were wondering, graphics were automatically set to medium when playing PUBG, and frame rates were steady. The phone didn't heat up while playing either. Best of all that power doesn't come at the expense of battery life. The Helio P60 seems to be quite power efficient too, and combined with a 3400 mAh battery, the Realme 1 yielded a very good 84 hours of endurance. Screen on times are respectable too. The only real irritation is the lack of fast charging. There isn't even any support for it, so you're stuck with a glacial charging pace no matter what charger you use. You won't find wireless charging either, but that's to be expected at this price point. The Realme 1 features Android 8.1 with ColorOS on top. If you love stock Android, this really isn't the phone for you, but if you like Oppo's user interface, you'll feel right at home. ColorOS also comes with a bunch of features that pure Android lacks for now, and it sometimes comes with a design that looks a little too close to iOS. Some things are easy to find, like the phone manager that helps you optimize your phone, or the theme store. Other features and options are buried in a maze of submenus, but at least there's a search option in settings that helps alleviate some of the confusion. For example, if you want to replace the navigation buttons with swipe gestures, just search gestures. Speaking of which, those offer a lot of options and they're easy to get used to while saving some precious screen space. The Realme 1 sports a 13-megapixel camera and it performs pretty well. There's plenty of detail, colors are good despite being a bit muted, and noise suppression works well. Of course, it has its weaknesses. Dynamic range isn't great, there's a general softness around corners, and we spotted a bit of over-sharpening here and there. The HDR mode helps the dynamic range, so you can just leave it on auto. Portrait mode, though, is where it really falls flat. Edge detection is poor and the effect as a whole is rather unconvincing. Surprisingly, there isn't a 4K video option despite the capabilities of the chipset, and sadly no EIS or OIS that we can see. Still, it can shoot decent video at 1080p at 30 frames per second. As for the front camera, selfies are good despite their limited dynamic range, but my eyes were enlarged even when the beauty option was turned off. The Realme 1 is a budget device, and sacrifices have been made to get it to this price point. There is no water protection, there's no fast charging, there's no wireless charging, and the camera is not really stellar. But even so, the chipset performance is great, the battery life is very good, and the screen is large and modern looking. So the Realme 1 delivers all the features that you might need on a modern smartphone, while outperforming much of its competitors at a lower price. It looks like Oppo really wants to gain market share. So they're undercutting Xiaomi, which normally rules this price segment, and as such, the Realme 1 seems like a really good deal, and it's an easy recommendation. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button down below and subscribe and hit the bell icon to get our latest tech reviews as soon as they're out. See you next time.